this is just going to be an extension of breakfast, I'm guessing.
It is. We already kind of started getting into some good shit.
That's all it is.
It just started. As we were speaking, I was like, oh man, we're on mindfulness already. We're doing this. We're doing that. It's like we should be fucking recording.
I know. I'm all about that deep and meaningful shit. Like sometimes I listen back to the podcast and I'm like, fuck, just talk about some light shit. But I don't know. It just feels like that's where all the goodness is at the moment.
Yeah, and especially, I guess, especially if you got something in common with the other person, you're both on a similar vibe. It's real easy to talk about it, and I'm kind of stoked to talk about the shit because it's what I'm living and breathing right now. Like all those, just the things that surround my life right now. So to connect with people that are kind of on that wavelength is pretty cool, and compare notes. You know what I mean? Dude,
you're right. And you said some stuff, this morning that like definitely made me think. And you were talking about like some meditation and stuff like that. I haven't really gone down the meditation road. Where are you at with that?
So for years in my life, I always thought of meditation as this hippie thing, right? I had no real concept of what it was. And then I started studying like a few kind of like people that I'm inspired by, like top achievers, and like looking at what they kind of do on a day-to-day, particularly like their morning routines, because I was like, I just want to improve like as a human, and I'll look up to certain people that are killing it in whatever field they're in. I was like, okay, what do you do when you wake up? You know what I mean? I want to know specifically. And one of the most common traits is meditation of some sort, right? And I was like, man, I should really find out a little bit more about what this is about. So, dude, I just did a real simple thing of getting the Headspace app, which is the most popular app for meditation in the world. And I was like, cool, I'm just going to check this out. And all I do is a 10-minute guided meditation every morning. When I get up, it's the first thing I do pretty much. And all it is about getting thoughts out of your head, basically. It's about just being centered and being like just in touch with you and your body, your spirit, and who you are at that time, and without all the crazy shit that flies around in our thoughts all the time. It's just getting rid of it. So it's a really simple concept, but I found like I've been implementing it basically for the last 6 months every morning, and I found it's like really helpful in like staying focused, staying like just on your path, staying calm, not letting shit get to you too much. I don't know. I think it's a pretty badass thing to do and get into. Yeah. It's that,
I think too, when it comes to meditation, it's more just like that self-care. Like, I feel like I don't do that, and I should, but I could see that when you start your day giving yourself something that's super positive, like how could that not then kind of push the rest of your day to be better, if that makes sense?
100%, man. Like, your body is your temple, right? And it's like, it's exactly what you said. It's kind of taking care of yourself. And it's real easy, like you don't even realize it in life how much our environment affects us, and outer influences actually guide your path, right? And meditation helps you get back to you and about what you actually want to do, and making sure you're on the path you want to be on, and not letting too many influences and shit fly in your environment fly into your life to constantly sidetrack you. So that's why I found it pretty helpful. But yeah, man, I just think it's a positive thing in general. Yeah.
What and you were saying you've just got into surfing as well, right?
I have, man.
And dude, because like I guess I don't meditate as such, but I think that's
meditation with Mother Nature, big time. I got a lyric about that in the song. Like, it's 100% that, man. And I guess another thing I've been really kind of been trying to be mindful about is appreciating moments. And one of the big moments that I appreciate is when I'm sitting out in the surf. Particularly, I got some buddies of mine in Sydney, and we go for like late afternoon. They call it Lagos, late afternoon surfs, right? When the light is like getting all purple on the water and shit, and the oranges come out, and it's like, it's fucking amazing, man. You sit out there and you're like, man, just breathe in and just like suck it up, you know what I mean? Because it's amazing. And that's like meditation with Mother Nature with me.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like me and Jeff Weatherall, he come on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he's like he's a pro surfer. Yeah. But we went out, we got up, he had to be at work by like 7 or something, so we got up at 5:15. It was still dark. And then we got to the alley on the Gold Coast, and it was still dark, and like as we were walking down the beach, that first crack of sunlight, and you're just like, fuck, this is special. Like, and it's those little things that they fucking get your day going, man. And like, if you can start a day where you just have such an appreciation for just being on planet Earth, man. So it's like, you can't get that by sitting down watching fucking sunrise at 7 a.m. with Mel and Koshi. Like, you're not getting that moment. Like, the moment that you're gonna get is watching the sunrise.
Dude, 100%. Recently, I just came back from Bali, and some buddies of mine were like, "Yo, we're gonna hit Uluwatu and go surfing." And I'm like, "Cool, what time?" And they're like, 5 a.m. I'm like, "Fuck me, that's still dark." And they're like, "Yeah, dude, you'll see." So I'm still like learning, right? I'm not like by any means a fucking pro or anything, right? And they're like, as we're walking down this cliff face down to the water in the dark, like with your board. I'm like, they're like, "Okay, it's pretty gnarly, paddle out, dude. Hopefully it's not big. We got to go through some caves, like paddle out through these caves basically to get out there in the dark." And I'm like, "Fuck, man, this is going to be crazy." So we paddle out. Luckily, I didn't get slammed or anything. We got out there. I was freaking out just trying to get out as quickly as possible because you never know. It's like you can't really see the waves coming at you. You don't know how big they are. And we get out there, and the first wave I caught, the sun was just coming up, and it was just that golden stream hitting like the fucking perfect, calm, like glass water in front of you. And that's a moment, man. Like that's just, you can't really top that shit.
And that will never fucking go away.
Nah.
Like you'll remember that for a very, very long time. Like we had a day, we call it D-Day. It was at a place called D Street in Encinitas.
Yeah.
And it was Thanksgiving, and there was a fucking massive swell, and it was just as I got good enough to start surfing good waves.
Yeah.
So I was like right on that beginner stage to where I just felt comfortable. Got a big swell at D Street, Thanksgiving morning. There is not a fucking soul at the beach because everyone's doing the family thing.
Yep.
So it was 5 of us Aussies, and we went out there, and it was just fucking perfect waves, bro. And like there was the same thing. It was like that overcast with like the sun. There was dolphins. It was just like, what the fuck? And like that is just a point of reference for the rest of your life.
100%. And we just had a couple like jumping whales in front of us 2 days ago here at Copacabana, and it's like, man, that's such a moment. It's so sick.
You got to chase them in life. Eh?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's all about learning to appreciate it at the time, like not just letting shit fly by and just being on autopilot, like making sure that you're like actually appreciating it and like thinking about it. Yeah.
And that's where like the phones and like we do get disconnected these days by kind of always looking at the phones and let that stuff, or you kind of get just caught up being I guess super passive in ways. Like I've found myself doing that shit lately where you just kind of stick to a routine when you really should be kind of bust out of it. It's like for how fucking frothing I was on that sunrise, I'm not doing that every day. Why?
Yeah.
I should be doing that shit every day.
Yeah, totally.
So I guess that kind of circles back to that meditation thing of like if you're getting into a practice every day of that 10 a.m. 10 minutes. What benefits come out of that direct benefits, do you think?
Man, I think definitely just having this calm and kind of focus throughout the day, and also like being aware of outside influences not affecting you. So they say one of the worst things to do, and I was a terrible person at doing this, like and getting into bad habit, is the minute I wake up, first thing I do is I grab my phone, see what's going on, jump on socials, whatever, and it's like immediately, or emails, immediately you're responding to other people's shit. Whereas really, you should be all about you. The morning is like your time to get yourself together, to center yourself, to get, to ready to kind of kill the day. You know what I mean? And that was a big thing for me. Like this last 6 months have been a bit of a transformation in terms of the way that I live my life and the habits, the good habits I'm trying to implement and bring in. There's been a lot of kind of reflection and looking at different ways I can approach things. And yeah, that was a big thing. The other thing I do is I write down 3 things every day, every morning after I meditate. I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I find that super cool, like in terms of just appreciating shit, you know what I mean? And it can be real mundane, super simple stuff. Like,
yeah, so what's your 3 from this morning?
Well, for like I think I wrote down something about like an AM surf and the sun coming in. It's literally, I wrote something like that. Another thing could be like, I appreciate being here, being able to record up at Copacabana in this beautiful location, and then another, it could be anything, it could be like, I appreciate my drummer Dan being in my life. He's a good, positive dude. I have great chats with him, and I write that shit down, you know what I mean? So it's all little things that you're actually grateful for and you're positive for. And what that does is it puts your subconscious on autopilot to kind of be happy and also to to really
extract the positive.
Yeah, man, because it's real easy to get pulled down in negative shit. And my whole thing, like this last 6 months, has been to surround myself with positive people, with people that love and help you on your journey, and you can give back to them and they can give to you. And all the conversations you have is a good one. It's not like I just want to get complaints and all that kind of shit, that negative vibe out of my life. And it's it affects all of us as humans. There's always ups and downs and all that kind of stuff. But as much as possible, I like to stay on that positive tip, because it just infects everything else with positivity, and you set yourself up to win. Do you know what I mean?
Well, there's just momentum in life, and that momentum can either be like a snowballing shitty momentum, or it can be like you said, that you're on that positive tip, and it's just like fuck, bang, 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 damn, all this good shit just keeps happening, and it's like it is this thing that you have to cultivate. I don't think people are going to give you like anything, whether it's not people, maybe it's like the world. Like the world isn't actively out there to give you something.
No, the world doesn't care. It's indifferent.
Yeah, and it's all about like whether you're a negative or a positive person. Yeah, there might be experiences that are negative that happen to you, but it's about like cultivating your perception of those events, because it's like the world isn't actively out there to fuck you over. That
100% not. But it doesn't give a shit if you're happy or sad. It doesn't give a shit. It's the world.
So it's up to you to do that.
That's right. And everyone's got their own world in here, right? So it's all about how, and that's the one thing you can control is your world in here. So I'm all about making sure I set myself up to win, and whether that's I'm setting myself up in a good environment that is positive, surrounding by the right people, doing everything I can to better myself as a person. Yeah. That's kind of been my tip for the last 6 months.
So what was it all right, let's go back to 6 months then, to the day where you said, maybe there wasn't a specific day, but like to the point where you said, fuck, I've got to change something. Like what was it?
It was, I'll tell you exactly what it is. So I've been in this game for a while, right? And like, living the kind of rock star lifestyle of like gigs all the time, there's a lot of fucking partying and a lot of like, in the music industry, you can't escape. There's always events, there's always alcohol involved, there's always this, there's always that, and you kind of get sucked in. Before you know it, you're kind of sucked into this cycle where it's not like you got a problem or anything. I'm a functional guy. I'm a smart guy. I know how to kind of handle my shit. We're doing great stuff as a band and all that. But at the same time, I kind of got to the point of last year. I was like not feeling good. Like my health wasn't that great, and I was just kind of like, man, I could be bettering myself way more. And also I've got other goals and I got other visions that I want to accomplish in my life. And I'm like, is this really helping? Am I really being the best version of myself? And that's what it came down to. And I was like, and I made a change basically based on that. I was like, I wasn't happy with my physical health. I wanted to be fit. I wanted to be, because I want to be able to do shit. I want to surf. I want to fucking go mountain bike ride. I want to fucking hit the snow, all that shit. I love that shit. That's life for me. And if I set myself up to have the best body as possible and mind, then I'm gonna be in the greatest situation to just achieve shit I want to do. Plus with the music and everything, it makes everything easier when you're kind of on top of your game, right? So that was kind of the catalyst to why I wanted to make a change. And then I just implemented a whole bunch of. I did a shit ton of research, studied people that I look up to. What do they do specifically? So shit like, I hit the gym. I've changed my diet radically. I'm on the ketogenic diet, which is a whole nother thing we can go into.
Yeah, that's it. That's a fucking...
Yeah. Meditation, writing down some, stuff like, what you're grateful for, all those kind of little things that add up, man. And so that's changed, and just being aware of mindfulness, all that kind of stuff. It's been a game changer for me this year. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. That's the tip.
And how old are you now?
I'm 38.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely... I guess too, when you kind of hit that you're in your 30s and you kind of, like I said, like fuck, I don't know, when I was like 18 or 19, I was like, I want to be the fittest I've ever been when I'm 30. And like I'm 30 in a couple weeks. Yeah. And I pretty much am the fittest I've ever been.
That's great.
And it's like yeah, I don't know. There's something about just getting to that age where it's like, if you don't get on top of this shit now,
yeah,
it's gonna fucking slip, and it's gonna slip quick, and it's gonna be really hard to catch that fall.
So I've lost 20 kilos in
Fuck,
yeah,
that's
I lost,
heavy.
Yeah, in about 4 months I lost 20 kilos, which is fucking massive, man. I was like at a point where my surfing I could barely stand up, because you imagine fucking trying to stand up with a 20 kilo dumbbell holding it. It'd be fucking hard as shit, right?
Yeah.
And you're pulling out of the water, and yeah, man, it's exactly what you said, man. It's like, okay, you fucking start feeling the pinch of life. Like, okay, life is short, man. And it's like, I'm going to be 40 in 2 years. Fucking 40. Mind you, I got a whole different mind state about like age, especially this generation. It's out the window.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree. I've been thinking about that lately.
It's so out the window, and it's all about where you feel, because what they don't tell you is, man, I'm the same dude as I was when I was 18 years old. I got more experience on my belt. I'm a little wiser, but I'm still the same Jonathan with the same passions and all that shit. So you're essentially the same person. And so I was like, man, yeah, I'm gonna hit the big 4-0 in a couple of years. I want to be going into that shit at the absolute peak of my life, like killing it. Like I don't want to be overweight, feeling like shit, like not attacking my dreams. You know, I want to be killing it in every way and just be feeling good. And that's kind of where I like kind of pulled the finger out, and I was like, I got to do something.
There is that old narrative of like you're at your peak at 30, 35, and then it's all downhill from there.
No way.
But that's the old narrative, right?
That's so the old narrative, man. And it's like, you look at Jay-Z, man. He's gonna be rocking on stage till he's 70, and that's the way I look at it, man. I'm gonna be fucking doing this shit for a long time, and it's gonna work moving forward. Age is not applicable like it used to be.
Yeah.
And it goes the same thing with like having kids and having families. All the traditions of you got to do it by this age or this age, it's out the window. We're gonna live to a lot longer because of science, medicine, and knowledge, and taking care of ourselves, and that changes the game. So I don't subscribe to the old philosophies when it comes to that.
Yeah, I've obviously, like, because I'm at the about to be 30 kind of thing, so I'm like in that headspace now.
Man, you got nothing to worry about,
dude. It's so relative though, right? Like you you think about where you only really think about yourself and where you're at and where you've been, kind of thing. But like, because I've just really got into jiu-jitsu. Okay. And it's like a 12-15 year black belt, and I'm not in it.
Wow.
Like right now I'm in it like I want to get a black belt. Yeah. Like I'm fucking keen. Yeah. And it's like, dude, I'm gonna be a white belt for like a year and a half. Yeah. And you know, like that's the thing, that the first person, the day they walk into the gym, they get the same thing as I'm gonna have for like 2 years. Yeah. And that's like, it's gnarly when you think about I guess like how committed you have to be through that. Yeah. But I'm gonna be like a 42-year-old black belt.
That's so dope.
It's fucking weird. And man, like, it's weird to think about that. But shit.
It's super dope. And having a long-term goal like that, you know, I'm sure you got many others, but that just as a small thing, that's really cool. One of the big things that helped me out with you know, my kind of 6 months like life reset, I like to call it, is my drummer Dan. He called me up one day. He's like, yo, I'm doing this marathon in Noosa in May, right? And I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna do that. He didn't even ask me. I was like, I'm gonna fucking do that with you. And that was in my mind, that became this goal that I had set way off in the distance. Like it was like 5 months away or whatever. So I had 5 months to get myself ready to that point. And having those long-term goals, man, is so important.
Did you end up doing the marathon?
Yeah, I did.
Fuck yes. Yeah. That's sick. So 5 months training, you did a marathon.
Yeah, but this is the crazy thing. I hurt my heel like 3 months out or something, and it was taking a fuckload time just to recover. So I couldn't basically run. So I was doing other shit, like I was on the bike or I was surfing or whatever, you know, like my general fitness was pretty good. I was lifting weights, but I hadn't really run, right? And then it was funny, like my drummer was like full-blown training for it, and I ended up getting like 3 minutes after him, and he couldn't believe it because I hadn't really trained. But it was by far one of the fucking hardest. I'm never gonna do this shit again. Yeah. Like I'm glad the box is ticked. Yeah. But I'm not a fucking runner, man. Like fuck that. It was horrifically painful to go through. Fuck. Like I think about it now. How long was it? But it was okay.
Did you do it under 4 hours or?
Yeah, no. So technically it was a half marathon, right? Oh, okay, I did a half, but still, that shit gnarly. Is fucking hard as shit. I'm not okay. And there's no fucking around. Yeah. And so it was 21 something K or whatever, right? Yeah. So it took me, I can't remember, I was like 1:55 or something, 1 hour 55. But I didn't stop. My main thing was
pretty fucking good.
And I did it with a couple of buddies that were fitter than I was. And we were running together, and they were kind of like, I'm going to walk for a bit. And I was like, I got to the halfway point. I was like, you know, I've come this fucking far. I'm not going to fucking stop. I'm just going to fucking do this.
Just Forrest Gump this bitch.
Yeah, I wanted to prove it to myself. And dude, your legs are killing you, like killing you. But yeah, I got through it. And that was a great moment, just of like, if you like, just in physical grit, you know, mental grit.
Well, it's got to be more mental than anything.
It's totally a mental game.
Your legs are supposed to fucking run. Yeah. But your mind is the one.
Your mind is like, motherfucker,
like, you don't need to do this, bro. There's no fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex chasing your ass down. Like, nothing's trying to clip you right now. Just fucking quit.
Yeah, and in a weird way, man, it's kind of like, I felt like it was a pretty rad life metaphor for like just sticking with something.
Fucking oath, man.
Yeah, and just being able to achieve what you think would be almost impossible, and just fucking doing it. So that I'm really happy I did it. Yeah,
but dude, you'll take that experience through the rest 100%, of your life, man.
100%. Yeah,
it's funny. I had a fucking crazy edibles experience that like I sort of put down to fucking running a marathon, basically.
Oh, really?
Because it was like, I was on a plane. It was actually LAX to fucking Brisbane, and I just went fucking way too deep. And I was like, because I haven't done a marathon, but I've done like some really crazy road rides on mountain bikes, and like 100k road rides, and like 6-hour mountain bike rides where you're doing like 6,000 feet of climbing. So I mean, I've kind of been in that hurt locker place before, where you want to quit and your legs are fucked. But I'd never really done it like mentally. So then I got fucking deep on a flight from LAX, and it was like 6 hours of just fucking turmoil.
Oh, because you would be eating edibles.
Yeah, right. Like way too much, dude. Like probably 6-7 times more than I'd ever had before. What? But by accident.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I had a terrible experience with that shit.
Yeah, and I've just gone like, I just went so fucking deep. And like, so I guess I'm sitting there, and I'm like texting my friend. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I think I messed up. Like, how much was actually in this shit? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, yeah,
if you get it wrong, you're fucked. And there's no escape.
You're done.
You're in. And you got to go ride it out.
Yo, big time. So I'm texting my mate. I was like, fuck, I fucked up. And then anyway, so I sit down on the plane, and then I'm like, I put the fucking tray down, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm sweet. And I felt like I was about 3 hours into the flight. Yeah. And the hostie walks up. Yeah. And the hostie taps me on the shoulder and says, hey, can you please put your tray table up for takeoff? Yeah. 3 hours in my mind, 3 hours into the flight. Like, I'm already feeling like the motion of the plane. Like, wow. And we hadn't even fucking taken off yet.
Oh, shit.
So then I was like, fuck, I'm in trouble here. Because it had been about, 6 minutes? Yeah. So I thought we'd gone for 3 hours. Yeah. So anyway, it was just a fucking...
It's scary, man, when you get that deep. Yeah, I had a bad experience there that it was fucking like life-shattering shit.
Dude, like when the plane took off, like all of the reality of what is happening in a fucking aeroplane when it takes off, like overwhelmed me, and I was just like,
you're thinking about thinking, fuck. And you're thinking about thinking, and
and like the physicality, like I felt like I was Matthew McConaughey in fucking, what was that space movie that he did?
Oh yeah.
Fucking
yeah.
You know the one, but they're in the spaceship. It's like I was fucking right there. Yeah. So anyway,
Interstellar.
That's right. So I was on that journey. Yep. And it was like 6 hours. We had to land in Hawaii. There was a passenger that was sick. Right. And like as we landed, I come out of it, and I was I was like, fuck, I'm back. But I've like attributed that to like the mental version of all that super hard physical shit that I've done, and like it's just funny. Like,
oh, that's good. You look at it in a positive way. At least. You got through like a cookie marathon,
dude. Yeah, I was like, fuck, that's like a brain version of running a marathon. I was fucking damaged, dude.
Yeah, it's fucked, man.
But I guess, it just made me think of that. But that whole thing, like once you get through something that's that hard physically, but it's more the mental side that's the challenge. And now, like, how do you feel when something is hard? You've got like a crazy point of reference for what hard actually is.
100%. And I don't know if I would have got to the point I'm at now if I didn't have my drummer call me up and say he's doing this thing, and me to jump at it and go, okay, I'm going to commit to this and have that long-term goal. Like, I don't know if I would be where I'm at, because if you don't have that point of reference, you're kind of drifting in the wind a little bit. It's all good to have good intention, but you got to have something actually concrete you're aiming for. You're going, this date, I'm doing this.
And you need that. I think what it boils down to is almost like accountability, because Kirby's there, being the guy that's going like, he's the guy that's in it with you. And all of a sudden, like when you take the onus off yourself, and then you're accountable to other people, and having
have a bunch of conversations leading up to it. We're supporting each other in the training. He's telling me, sending me his like run data and shit, the map he's on, and I'm doing vice versa when I was actually running. But yeah, having that support was a big thing, and it goes back to having that that circle of friends around you that is positive and on that wavelength.
I've been thinking about that a bit lately, of like, we're in a very lucky position as two dudes that work for ourselves. That like, if there's a fucking dipshit that you don't want to be around, clip, see ya. But like, fuck man, I really feel for the people that are stuck dealing with just pieces of shit in their workplace, or you know what I mean? Like, they kind of can't escape that stuff as easy as...
Well, and what's even worse is people that don't realize that they're in this... Because negativity breeds negativity. Do you know what I mean? It's just like positivity breeds positivity. It's the same thing. And people that don't realize they're in that cycle and it is affecting them, and it's bringing down their world, but they're not mindful of it. That happens so often, man. I'm sure you got people in your life, I know I do, that are stuck in that mode, and they're just complainers, or they're, just always in a bad mood, or there's always something wrong, and you know what I mean, and it's
what's
like
that victim mentality.
100%. And sometimes I get it. I'm empathetic. I get sometimes there are external factors in their life that they can't control or whatever, but as much as you can be aware of it helps so much, man, because once you're aware, you can change shit around you, right? So that's my whole thing.
It's definitely I guess it just is one of those things that you have to cultivate. And like, I like to break things down into there's two types of people in the world. There's people that the world happens to them, and there's people that happen to the world. And like, all right, you're fucking Bliss from Bliss N Eso. You've happened to the world. You did a thing. You had a thing that was in your head, and it was an idea, and then you got together with your mate, and then you fucking put out this thing, and then that thing happened to the world. And then there's the people, which are like the complainers and the victims. The world just fucking happens to them, and they're like, they're the effect of all this negativity instead of this positive force that goes outward. So it's like, I just get frustrated, and fuck man, I really try and categorize people in my life as like, do you happen to the world, or does the world happen to you? Right, okay. Because if the fucking world happens to you, I don't want to be around you. And it's true, because I don't give a fuck that someone run into your car. I don't give a fuck that you didn't know that you couldn't park there, and now you've got a parking ticket. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's it. That sucks, but you know that, like, you did that. All of this is like, at some point it's a choice you made, and then that's just fucking how it is. Like, it might have been a choice you didn't mean to make. It might have been a choice that was, your hand was forced, but whatever you did, like a day before that put you in that position.
That's right.
So it's like, you just got to kind of be the person that happens to the world. Like, this podcast, it was just an idea, and then I do it, and it happens to the world. That's it. And then the next thing you know, you're affecting people. People are watching. People are taking interest, and it's growing. I think too, like, a thing that I've been thinking about lately as well is the ripple effect of positivity. So when you make a choice, like road rage is a good example, right? So like, I've fucking blown up at people in the car, like just so super dumb shit. Everyone has. But it's like, I wonder what that then does to that person that I blew up at. And then is he going to go home, and is he going to be a cunt to his wife? And then is his wife going to then be a bitch to their kid? And then is his kid going to go to his room and cry? And then does he get up in the morning and pick on some kid at school? Like,
the butterfly effect is real.
There's a crazy ripple effect. And it's like, do you want to be responsible for that? And it's like, play it out to the worst fucking scenario of what your negativity could have on somebody. And do you still want to put that into the world? No. The answer is no.
No, 100%, man. I mean, like, fuck. I mean, the world is a crazy butterfly effect, though, man. It's all happening all the time. I can't get too lost in that shit, because it's like, that's daunting. It's like thinking about, man, there's a lot. But then the beautiful thing is, on the flip side, you get to do something creative. You're doing something creative. I'm doing something creative through music. Get to affect people on a positive tip, and that's a beautiful, fulfilling thing. And it's like, it is daunting if you think about it, like through that 1,000-mile away ripple effect that your negativity has.
has, but then it's so easy to just go, all right, fuck, I'm just going to clip all that and I'm just going to be positive, and then it's only a good ripple effect.
Good
so
shit.
it's like, yeah, don't, you could get daunted by all of it, but it's just like, use that as the reference point of like, oh fuck, I need to be positive.
Totally. And like what we were saying before, like on a personal thing, learning how to reflect those negative thoughts out and be positive and be kind of a master of yourself.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, you could be in the shower and suddenly you snap out of it and you're like, fuck, for the last 5 minutes I've been going down this rabbit hole of like this one situation, getting all emotional, getting upset about it, and like being able to just go, I don't need to be in that at all.
Yeah.
Like, life is great. You know what I mean? And that goes back to that shit that I appreciate and write down, because you have these references immediately. Like, it's like you get a different set of reference, like a personal reference of where you're at in life and what you have to be grateful for in life.
Yeah.
And immediately that changes your whole perspective. You're like, that's actually not important. I'm not even worried about that. And you're laughing at the fact you just got caught up in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's that self-awareness.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, it's so hard to be reflective though, and honestly reflective.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to praise yourself. Like, oh, look at what I just did. I'm fucking rad. But then it's like, oh, you're a piece of shit there. Let's just fucking ignore that bit.
Yeah.
But it's like, you've got to be as critical on yourself as possible, not to like self-loathe, but it's like, be critical and do think about what those negative things or whatever, like how they did
take them on board, think about them, but don't let them get to you.
Don't let them get to you. But I think that it's like having the awareness of how you treat other people, how you do certain things, because a lot of that, like, I guess you were saying about like those people that are like complainers or whatever. It's like, so say someone's always complaining around you and then you cut them off and then that person is like, oh man, fucking Bliss doesn't talk to me anymore, fucking thought we were friends. But it's like, ultimately it was his action that led to you cutting him off. So it's like, if you don't take that shit on board to be like, okay, well, what part did I play in Bliss clipping me from the program? And if it's only, again, those negative things happening to you. So I think there is a big value in looking at yourself and through a critical lens and saying like, what does this shit affect? Because that you complaining all the time was the reason that Bliss fucking clipped you from the program. Yeah,
totally. And you know what? Some of those people are so deep in it that they probably will never look at that, and they probably will not realize it. And it's always the victim thing. You know what I mean? But like what we were saying before, man, life is short, dude, and like your ultimate happiness is fucking paramount. You know, and you want to take care of other people and be positive to other people, but not at the detriment of yourself. When you're just in a situation that is just not bringing you happiness or anything. It's like, well, fuck that. You know what I mean? Fuck that.
Do you have a thing now where you like wish that you'd got on this program sooner?
Fuck yeah. Man, 100%. Like it's but you know what? It's everything happens.
It all leads up to that
man. Point. And I feel like a lot of this shit you kind of know already, and you've heard it before and you go, yeah, that's probably true, but it's a whole different thing when you actually implement it. When you actually implement it and then you look back at like 6 months, you go, fuck man, I've totally done like a total flip on what I was. You know what I mean? And like not just mentally but like physically and everything. It's a trip out, and then that spurs you on and gives you more momentum to keep going. I was gonna say, like, you're probably at a point now where you're like, fuck, I wish I did it sooner, but like, holy shit, like, look at where I'm at now, and you've got that point of reference to be like thankful for in a way. Cheers, bros. Because you've the other side, the 20 kilo heavier version of you, so it's like makes it that much more appreciative of the negative 20 kilo version of you right now. 100%. And the thing right now for me is, I mean, if I look back at the last 20 years of being a rapper and all that shit, there's probably no more than maybe 3 or 4 weeks in that 20 years that I didn't have a beer. Do you know what I mean? Right. Having like, because it's just everywhere, right? You know what I mean? And like, I'm nowhere near was an alcoholic or anything, but it's just the way we live, especially in Australia. Drinking is it's a culture. It's a culture. It's everywhere. And also binge drinking is such a culture, and you don't even realize what binge drinking is until you actually realize what it is, and you're like, everyone binge drinks. Yeah, like that's a label that people are like, I'm not really a binge drinker. It's like, if you fucking throw up from drinking alcohol, you're a binge drinker. Yeah, or just like have like fucking 20 drinks in a night, you're a binge drinker. But anyway, I guess so. The last 6 months I haven't drunk, right? I haven't drunk, partied at all, and that's is everything okay?
Hang on, I'll just make sure. Oh, I think it's just because it's not plugged in.
Yeah,
it's still going.
Have you did the power work?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just
cool.
didn't plug this one in. Just give me 2 seconds and I'll chuck the charger on it.
Yeah.
It's all there. It's just the screen goes when it's, it goes in like sleep mode.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck.
Was it still recording?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, I would not be pumped on that.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, it flows so good with you. It's so easy to talk to you.
Yeah, no, vice versa, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy how people are really getting on that kick too. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people that want to be on that program of improving their lives.
Yeah.
It's like, it seems like, sort of hate to say it's a trend, but it does seem like a new trend.
It's a great fucking trend if that's the case, because there's nothing but good shit for people if they're picking up that.
It's I guess I'll
like.
And we're back. Sorry, people. What you were saying before about the whole age thing is rad, because my uncle, he was on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and he's fucking like 60, and he mountain bikes every day.
Okay, yeah.
And it's like, so what you were saying about your whole perspective of age, that shit's changing, bro. Like
100%.
Keto, like living on a keto diet, like your insides, say if you didn't do this thing 6 months ago, like your insides in 5 years of living the old way is going to be like a 70-year-old dude.
Fuck yeah.
But then if you stay on that keto thing till you're 60, it's like your insides just fucking stay good.
That's right. And the beautiful thing about the human body is it's constantly growing and recycling, and actually you can actually reverse negative effects that you've done in the past, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a similar thing. One of my cousin's partners, he's like 60, and he's like a badass like heli ski guide and like kite surfer and like mountaineer. He's climbed Everest, and he's 60 and he's still doing it. He does yoga every morning, and it's like, I told him the other day, I saw him in Bali and we went kite surfing, and I was like, dude, you're the fucking you're an example of who I want to be when I'm 60. I'm going to be my version, but I want to be in a state where I'm still doing all this rad active shit that is like the spice of life, and I want to take care of my body and just be in that zone. Because he's the youngest 60-year-old you've ever seen. Like, and that's so rad. Yeah,
there's a lot of those fucking dudes getting around now, because and like our generation, we're the ones that are really going to lead the charge on
100%. Because we're on the cusp of the curve of the knowledge as well.
Exactly. Like, you got your entire fucking human history worth of knowledge on there. And like, dude, even like with jiu-jitsu, for me, it's like I can go to class every day like I do, and I can train every day.
Yeah.
And then if I really want to get weird, I can fucking sit on YouTube all day, every day, not watch the same video twice, because there's just this ocean of people's knowledge that they just put up for free.
Yeah.
And then you can then take that back. So it's like,
totally.
Just as an example of like what you can fucking learn.
Yeah.
If you really want to, like, when was the last time you watched like normal TV?
I was just about to bring this up. Like, it's amazing. Like, I basically only watch YouTube now. When I watch 100%. Shit, it's just YouTube, and it's shit I want to watch. It's shit I search for. I'm not gonna sit and watch a channel that panders to shit I'm not interested in.
And have some
and have commercials. Fuck commercials.
Yeah,
that's the biggest waste of life I've ever seen. So it's like, man, 100%. It's a totally different day and age in the way we consume content, and the pool of knowledge is astronomical now. We are so blessed to be living in this day and age where we basically saw the birth of the internet, and it's like it's a massive moment in human history.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And to be part of it is pretty. That's another thing to be grateful for. You know what I mean? It's like it's pretty special, and the amount of opportunity that the internet allows us is fantastic, especially for people like me and you doing 100%. Being our own bosses and doing our own vision. It's just rad.
And it's crazy, like, the school of YouTube is the most fucking real thing. Like, we were talking about it at breakfast, that Alan Hardy's the guy that kind of got me into filming, basically, because I couldn't afford to keep paying him to film for me. And I was like hitting him up with all these questions, and it was like right as YouTube started having like tutorials and shit.
Yep.
So, dude, I've fucking filmed all over the world for some of the biggest companies in the world. Never fucking set foot in a classroom related to filming.
Yeah, exactly. Even when I started learning about food and diet and exercise,
100%.
It's first of all, this is fundamental shit that should be taught at school, and it wasn't for me. I never learned about any of this shit relating to food, and it's so crucial to the human being, right? And it makes me think like there's so much we got a bit of an archaic education system, but this new school of YouTube or a new school of internet, you can search for so much shit and learn so much. It's all available to us, you know what I mean? You just fucking type shit into Google and you fucking got tutorials on fucking everything.
Yeah. Oh, dude. And the food thing's a crazy resource. The fitness thing's a crazy resource.
Yeah.
Just the aspirational element of like, I'm sure before you went to Ulu, you were fucking looking up dudes surfing that wave, and like you can just get inspired by people. You can be
100%.
Empowered by people.
Yep.
You can, absorb knowledge,
and it can give you mentors, online mentors,
Big
basically
time.
like, because it's allowing you to fucking suddenly be in someone's world and they're killing it in their field, and you're totally tapped into it. And then you got another 5 other people that are killing it in their field, and you're tapped into that, and you're just constantly absorbing and learning. It's rad, man.
Well, that's what we were talking about as well, where that's kind of been the thing that I've learned through the podcast, is that I'm a blessed person to get to associate with the people that I do. And even though, a perfect example, like Sam Moore puts us in a group text. I've never met you.
Yeah.
Sam puts us in a group text.
Yeah.
I respect the fuck out of Sam.
Yeah.
You respect the fuck out of Sam.
Yeah.
Then instantly there's we can be fucking mates, because if he's
totally,
you know what I mean? It's
totally.
that whole deal.
Yeah.
And then from there, I can give access to the people that listen to this, 2-3 hours with a guy that's fucking killed it in his life through these things. And it's like, well, you just can have a conversation. Like, people are listening to us have a conversation about what's worked for us in life.
Totally.
And it's like, if you're one of those people and you might be listening to this and you're like, fuck man, maybe the world does happen to me, maybe I do complain a lot. It's like, just spark those little sparks that then you can give people. It's like, this shit just didn't happen before.
Yeah.
Like, if you were born in fucking Bamaga in Cape York, like, you were exposed to Bamaga, Cape York. Or back even when I was a kid growing up in Cairns.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have a computer till I was maybe like 15.
Yeah.
So it's like, you think about my circle of what I got to experience in life up to 15 was that geographic location. But now it's like, you can fucking be anywhere. You can be everywhere.
That's right. And that's what gives me so much hope for the music game as well, because it's changed it for artists so much. So there's the whole argument about musos don't make the money they used to make, blah blah blah, but at this flip side, you've opened up your access to the world so radically more and empowered artists through the internet to do it themselves and be able to reach people and all that. And I love that. That to me is exciting, you know what I mean? Like, actually playing the game of like, I get to make my art myself, control it myself, have my own vision, and then be able to talk and relate to my fans and give it to them immediately myself, and be a part of that, and not just be a part of this huge machine, and be a kind of almost like laying back and going, okay, well, here's the music, get it out there, you know what I mean? Like, yes, I'm not saying that is definitely a way, and we've used that way in a bunch, but also having the other way as well to be able to do it yourself is so rad.
And then it's like, I guess your future and your existence, it's in your hands. Like, you're the one driving the ship. It's not like you drive it to the point of handing your music over and then be like, well, fuck, hope it works. It's like, you can have that. And it's like, if you really get after something and you really put it in the work, and then you're doing that work once the music's released, you're doing the touring, you're responding to fans, you're like, it's fucking there. Like, you just have to really work to take what's there, it's not up to, and I guess too, it's not up to somebody to decide what's cool. Like, I don't
want to be in the hands of someone else's decision making or to someone else's like approval. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, for sure. Like, you look at like, one of my favorite bands is Linkin Park, right? So I grew up listening to, that's probably the band I've listened to the most, and there's a Mike Shinoda did his Fort Minor album, and there was a song on there where he talked about the process of the record label saying like, you just play the keyboard and Chester's gonna sing, like we're not gonna do the rap rock thing. And they were like, fuck that, we're doing the rap rock thing.
And they're so good they did, because they made themselves unique.
Exactly. But they were still in that time where people could tell them what to do, and if they didn't have their own kind of...
Have you seen the 60 second... Is it 60 Seconds to Mars? Is that the band
30
title?
Seconds.
30 Seconds, yeah. Have you seen that like doco where they go through that whole fight with the label?
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
That's crazy, huh? But that's a perfect example of being in that situation as well, where you're kind of at the whim of someone else's command.
Big time. And like someone could have said to you guys like, okay, American dude and then Aussie guy and like a rap duo, nah, that sounds kind of fucking lame. We don't even want to go there. They might not have even got to as far as playing the demo. Because they might have just thought like, oh, I don't think the market will like that. And it's like, you could get shut down. So like, say my goal was to be on the radio. They'd be like, nah, I don't really like your voice. You haven't really wowed me in these 5 minutes. You're not on the radio. But it's like, now it's like, well, you don't need the radio. You just do a podcast. You put it out, or SoundCloud.
That's right.
Like, I was going to ask you too about that XXVI, the dude that just got shot, the rapper, like he come up through SoundCloud.
That's right.
Like, fuck it, that whole like SoundCloud rapper thing is like the craziest shit.
It's a thing. And you know, I mean, there's a whole that goes to the bigger social media conversation we were having at breakfast. Like, it's a whole nother phenomenon now that dudes are getting notoriety and fame just through the internet. You know, it's like all the traditional avenues, they're still there, and some people do, it's applicable to some people, but so many up-and-comers are popping out through these new channels, you know what I mean? And it's crazy, man. Like, we were talking about Instagram models or whatever, you know? It's like, it's a whole nother beast, you know?
Did you follow much of like what happened with that whole shooting and shit?
Not really. And to be honest, I didn't know that much about the dude. But it was I mean, I've heard stories about like he did like a Instagram live or something, so dudes knew where he was gonna be, and that kind of led to. It was like a planned thing. I don't know if that's right. That's what I've heard. But man, it was amazing to see so many of the iconic rappers that I look up to. And sing, because I didn't really know the dude.
Have you played his album at all?
No.
Dude, play his fucking latest album. It's crazy.
But to see their reaction to it was crazy, and I was like, fuck. Yeah,
you should listen to the album.
That shit is so fucking horrific, man. I hate that shit.
Just to be a fucking 20-year-old kid, man. But like, the whole, that whole game of like, wearing 1.8, like I was just on Lil Pump's Instagram, and he's another one of those fucking SoundCloud crazy dudes. He had a $1.8 million diamond pinky ring on, and he's like putting it all over Instagram. It's like, motherfucker, there's people in like full poverty like 15 miles from where you live. Like, you're in Beverly Hills. Fucking Inglewood ain't that far away, son. Like, and you're putting out that you've got all these fucking rings on, you got these teeth and all that. Like, you're just asking to get fucked up, and that's what happened to that ex kid. And it's like he had $310,000 cash in a fucking Louis bag. When he got jumped. And it's like, fuck, do you need all that shit? But again, there's a weird rap culture in the US.
Well, there is, and it's so opposite around like here. But
I know, isn't it weird?
It's polar opposite. But yeah, man, I used to get hella angry at like rappers when they'd be on their ignorant shit. Like, now I've kind of come to accept it. It's like, whatever, everyone's cool, everyone's doing their thing, and that's cool, and I just try and stay positive about it. But I used to get angry, like, you know, thinking about like, man, you got this voice to reach millions, and you're rapping about this shit, and there's all these problems, and you could be shedding light on this and that. If I was in your position, that's what I'd be doing, you know what I mean? And now I kind of don't let myself get too upset about it. It is what it is. People are doing their thing, and everyone's an artist. That's cool, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna do me, and yeah, that's what it's about. But yeah, it is crazy, that whole culture. And then there's that other dude, the dude who fucking
Tekashi.
Yeah, man, throwing on these guns and shit like a crazy lunatic.
Have you listened to his shit though?
Yeah, a little bit.
I hate to say that I like some of his shit.
Okay.
Fuck, I hate that I'm saying that.
Okay. I don't, man, the raw, it's just too over the top rah for me personally.
It is full on. Yeah. But like, fuck, there's just something like, and I know that I don't like it, but there's something about it that just really sucks you in. Like, I had a comp on, like a fight, and I was fucking pumping his shit right before it. I just felt like a fucking killer. I'm not gonna lie.
But it's a new phenomenon of rapper, isn't it?
It's fucking crazy. And now, like, you're a MC, right? Like, you can get and fucking spit. And then you get into that whole mumble thing. It's like, humana, 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 huh, humana, huh, humana, huh. And I'm just like, the fuck you, like, what is this that you're doing? Doesn't seem like there's the same skill, and it's more about that image.
It's like, about swag. A lot of it is about swag.
Like, that Tekashi kid, like, he can't really fucking rap. And I've listened to it, ashamedly, I've listened to a lot of his stuff. And there's songs where when I first started listening to it, I was like, this is the same song that you're doing. Like, the flow and the hits, it's the same hits, it's the same words that you're using as an anchor for your sentences. And I'm like, there's nothing real here. But what it is he's got 69 tattooed on his face. And he's got purple hair. And he's crazy as fuck. And that's what sucks people into, like, the narrative of this and it's almost like they become these caricatures, not artists.
That's right. But, you know, similar shit happened with Tupac, man. Tupac, if you really go back and listen to his whole shit, all of his songs, like, so much of the lyrics is about the same shit. He's got a few topics and a few rhyme words that he uses a lot, but it was all about his passion. It was all about his delivery. And you know, I love Tupac. Like, he was an icon to me. But it's a similar thing where people kind of get in their lane and they just kind of keep repeating a very similar story over and over again. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's the beauty is now there's so much shit out there.
You can just pick whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly.
You're not getting told what you have to like.
Exactly.
Dude, I fucking, you watch it, it's in that whole trap and like the mumble rap thing now, and it's like you just see these buzzwords now, where it's like Rari, skirt, like, and it's just, and then every fucking dude, and it's like, that's why, that's why I'm like, I love Kendrick, because he'll sit back and and you guys do the same thing. It's like, you're not just pumping out these songs just to stay in the charts. It's like you're working on a body of work.
That's right.
And then when Kendrick come out with Damn last year, it was like, fuck, there was no trend in that. There was no jumping on these buzzwords, and that's like, Drake does a lot of that shit. Like, he'll kind of just put stuff out, even though that motherfucker's crazy and he's talented. But he's on that kind of always staying on that he wants to be relative all the time, as opposed to like just letting the body of work bring him back to relevance, if that makes sense. I think a lot of artists do that now.
I mean, J. Cole's recent record I really was digging, where he kind of commented on the rap game itself and about these kids that are like putting these crazy influences out to other kids, and then they're thinking that's what it's all about, you know. And then I mean, him breaking down, you know, and actually speaking to some of these rappers, you know, like, you know, this is what you're doing, but this is what's going to happen if you don't watch it, you know. And I quite dug where he was coming from, his perspective there.
Yeah, he's one of those guys as well that sort of just, you know, wants to put out the body of work. But I get really frustrated, and it's probably the same, like, I guess reason you said you were frustrated, but it's like, me and Dad, we were on the couch the other day and an ad come on, and it was for a new original Showtime series about a fucking black thug trying to fucking make money and not go to jail. And I'm like, okay, well, this is the narrative that we're not allowed to push. We can't talk about that anymore. We're not allowed to say all people are like this, all fucking, like, create these stereotypes. But then it's like, these are the people that are choosing to keep pushing this stereotype. It's like, give me some fucking real content. Then just like push that same thing. And I think like movies do it, and then a lot of rap does it, and it's like money, bitches, hoes, money, bitches, hoes, money. And it's like, fuck.
But it's been like that forever.
I know.
Like, it's literally been like that forever. And we like, B&E has been so on the tip of not doing that, and that's like helped to kind of shape our style and our sound. You know what I mean? It's like the anti that, because it's just, man, it just gets fucking old as shit. Mind you, I like myself a nice ignorant track here and there.
Fuck, I'm saying I like that shit too.
I love that shit. Like, sometimes I want to put that shit on. I was just listening to the new Anderson .Paak, Bubbling, right? And the fucking video clip is so fresh. This fucking money machine spitting out money everywhere. I love it. It was done really well. The song is fire. Like, the beat is fire. Anderson .Paak is fire. Like, it's that, to me, that's a good example of, if you're gonna go down that lane, and you know, and he's a pretty intelligent dude as well. You can tell, like, it's not just ignorant shit at all. He's like, he's an artist. to me, that's a great example of like taking that theme and doing it fresh.
Doing it well, son.
Yeah.
But you see now when you get dudes that step out of that lane, they have success. So it's like, it's almost, well, I guess you've got to have talent to step out of that lane, because you almost don't need a whole lot of talent. Like Tekashi, perfect example. Like, he's not a fucking talented rapper. But he's talented at cultivating an image and a storyline and like living as a character. People buy into that shit.
Look, the dude's killed it, man. It's I mean, yeah, as much as I might not get into his art, but fuck, you know, power to him. I just hope the guy's safe and he doesn't get himself into stupid trouble, because
he after that X thing, he posted I follow him on Instagram too. Sorry. He posted a video being like, yeah, man, I didn't know this shit was so real, and fucking I don't want to do dumb shit. And I was like, man, everyone's been telling you this shit.
I'm pretty sure I saw a Charlemagne interview where Charlemagne like broke it down and said, son, you're gonna end up in jail or dead if you don't pull your head in. Basically something to that they sent. And I was like, man, I hope he does listen, because man, you can get yourself into fucking trouble real quick. And
you know what? I watched a video. I did like that when that Charlemagne interview come out. Like, I'd heard of him and I'd had his music through like Rap Caviar on Spotify, like the playlist. So you kind of I was hearing him. But yeah, when that Charlemagne interview come out, I went down that Tekashi fucking rabbit hole for a few hours on YouTube. And he got into a fight at LAX. And I was like, motherfucker, you can't even fight. Like, you're talking all this shit. Like, you would want to be able to throw hands, son. But like, he just couldn't even fight. And I was like, fuck, you're doing all this shit. You're like, you're not actually even fucking hard.
Right.
So I was like, man, you might be in some serious trouble. But I guess it's just they're hanging around people that can, so.
It's just, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, why is the Aussie hip-hop scene so different? Like, do you think that if we tried to do that shit, like, it'd just come across super fucking fake?
It just wouldn't. It just wouldn't be real, and people would see through it in 2 seconds. You know, that's the beauty of the vibe here, man. It's about real shit. It's about Australia is not about that. The culture isn't like that here. So why rap about something that doesn't really exist in this country? You know, I mean, of course it does in pockets, but on the greater scale, not really. And it's a crock of shit. I don't want to be pushing like some bullshit image that I don't live. I just want to be myself. That's the whole point of art, right?
Because then it comes hard to keep up to.
And it's just
and it's not genuine for starters. But like, let's say you did go down that road, you'd have to be like, oh, well, I was just gonna wear this, but it's like, fuck, now what does that? Like, what is that? That thug thing I have to wear?
That's the biggest mistake of young artists when they go down a path that's not them. 100%. The most important thing is you got to be yourself. You got to represent your truths. That is it. And the cool thing is, man, there's no one else in the fucking world like you. So embrace it. There's no one else that can be you. It's you. So figure out who you are. That's a big thing, is actually figuring out who you are, getting comfortable with that person, and then owning that person, and then being able to, you got to respect yourself to be able to have any respect from other people, right? So it's just all about, then once you know yourself and you're comfortable with yourself and you stop giving a fuck what anyone else thinks, you just do you, and that's when people gravitate.
Yeah, and I think that artists are the people that we look to I guess articulate what we're feeling and what we're thinking. And it takes a guy like yourself and with like Eso as well, like with his struggles with like drinking and getting sober from that, it's like people look to artists to share the extremes that they're not comfortable sharing. And I think that's why I think artistry, whether it's in the form of like movies, music, poetry, writing, that's never gone out of style, and it never will. Is because we need those people to take like those personal liberties to say the things we're not brave enough to say.
When is it that you connect the most? When you relate to something. So if you hear a rapper talking about a struggle, you go, man, I've been through the same shit, I can't believe that. Suddenly, man, you're so much more of a fan or like an appreciator of that artist. A big time, man. It could be little things. It just makes you love the person because they're speaking the truth. You know it's real, and in some way you relate to it, and that's the beautiful thing. So yeah, that's for me, man. That's what I just continue to try and do with my art, is just like tell the stories that I've never told about myself or whatever, and I feel like I could share. I never like to like preach or like you should do this, you should do that. It's more like I just want to let people in, let them know my story, my struggles, what I've done, ways that I've improved myself, whatever it may be. and if they can grab a nugget of inspiration or a nugget of being able to relate to it, then fucking great. That's what it's about.
And I think that it takes bravery from your end to then put yourself out there, like put 100%. Those things out. But is there like therapy in that, do you think?
100%, man. Yeah, it's, first of all, if you're writing a song, you're like, man, I really want to say something about this topic or whatever. The actual artistry and the process of writing it is like therapy, because you're kind of analyzing your thoughts, and you know, sometimes you'll sit down and write a song and you're like, fuck, I've never really sat down and thought about this particular thing and analyzed it, and that whole process is like self-therapy, you know what I mean? And then the best thing about it is when you can flip a dark time or a story into something positive and affect other people in a positive way. That's the bee's knees, man. That's just like, that's what it's all. That's probably the most, or one of the most fulfilling things in my life is to be able to help other people, you know, just by sharing my truth.
And when did this all start? Like, when did, I guess, you even find that you had a way to do this? Because like, I don't think I could write a rap song.
Yeah, because
there is a talent, and then it's obviously cultivated through the interest of the thing. Man, it just started as me and Eso being the only two dudes in high school that liked hip hop music, and we're into NWA and Public Enemy, and no one else even knew what the fucking rap was. This is when it was CD stores. There was no internet. Sanity, son.
Right? And it was like there was no fucking urban section even, because the genre didn't exist here. So it was like, you go to the CD store, the record store, and you'd be lucky to get maybe 2 like CDs or albums that were rap or hip hop in the whole fucking store. Like, that's how rare it was. But so it just started off, but just that love of it, and just us mimicking other rappers, you know, just spitting each other's favorite verses to each other. And then one day I like changed the lyric and made it mine, and that's, so was like, damn, that was kind of dope, I'm gonna do that. And it was just like, basically almost lied ourselves into it, just by having fun, you know what I mean? And it all grew from that. But yeah, it definitely does, like you said, you get to a point where you get comfortable with yourself, and it does take balls to like talk about certain things, you know what I mean? But then once you kind of get past that, you kind of feel like you can speak about anything pretty much, and that's a beautiful thing, you know, being totally comfortable and be able to present it in an artful way, you know? Yeah.
Well, coming from the States, so you were what, 13, did you say, when you moved over here? So you're 13, so you'd obviously been exposed to rap, and then you come here, and then there wasn't as much rap.
Like, basically none. And that was, so I was exposed to like the major radio station over in DC was called WPGC.
So that's where you're from, is DC?
DC, well, just outside Alexandria, Virginia.
Yeah.
So I grew up there going to public school. Like, hip hop was everywhere, man. It was the coolest shit, right? And so I just gravitated to rap. Like, that was what I loved. And then my family moved us out to Sydney, and my dad was still like in the States at the time, and I kind of went back and forth, 6 months here, 6 months there for the high school kind of thing. But I met Eso at high school in Australia, and he was the only other guy that liked hip hop and rap, and we became mates, and that's how it all kind of grew. But it was like, it was pre-internet, man. So it was like the only way we didn't even think there was a local scene here until we saw this documentary called Basic Equipment, which came out in 1998. We were 18 years old. Yeah, right. And that was the first Australian hip hop documentary. And that showed us that there were these underground dudes doing it. And it's like when street press was the only way you'd connect, and you'd read articles and like, fuck, okay. And then there was this one store called Next Level Records in Sydney that you'd go, and it was like the spot where the whole like local scene would go to meet. It was like the Mecca. And it was like, you know, there was an MC named Trey, this female MC, and it was her album was on cassette tape. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're talking fucking a while ago, right? Yeah. And it's just crazy to think how much it's fucking grown, man, and to kind of like think that like we were part of this movement of upcoming groups that kind of like led the charge in creating the genre that it was, because basically the genre didn't exist. Yeah, and it's come so fucking far, you know, since those days.
That's such a trip to be a part of that from the very early onset of creating a culture.
Yeah.
Because now, man, like there's a lot of legit artists. Like I'm a huge Seth Sentry fan.
Yeah.
Like I love what he does he's a great storyteller.
He's awesome.
And like he can tell a really great story out of like something really simple.
And he's super clever as well with it, the way he tells the stories. Yeah.
So it's like there is now a culture, and then obviously Hilltop Hoods have been amazing. You got 360, you got Pez. Like there's a bunch of really fucking good dudes. And I think that it was crazy too that I feel like the scene had to rely on real legitimate MCing as opposed to like, because we don't have that like easy like slot in, fit the fucking, you know, fit the costume. Yeah. And then like you sort of don't need talent. Like you really do need talent to come up in Australia, because there is no real definitive like character that you can just jump in and play.
Yeah. Well, and you know what, man? Like it was real ballsy of the scene to actually just represent what life is like here, and just people day to day, and that, you know, lifestyle. That was because it wasn't what was happening in the States on the main scheme, especially with like you know, commercial hip hop and rap. It's just completely anti that. And don't get me wrong, there was a lot of underground artists in the States and around the world that were on that tip, but to cultivate it to me in the right way was super important, and it's what gives the local scene credibility.
Do you think that like, is it a tight-knit community? Because I'm not exactly like an Aussie hip-hop aficionado. Like I'm not in the scene, obviously.
Yeah,
but
man.
Is it a pretty tight community of people? Or?
Well, because we kind of been around for a while, we know most of pretty much everyone in the game. There's a lot of up-and-coming people nowadays. Like you listen to Triple J on Earth, that's when you hear some of this new school influence coming in.
Yeah, right.
Like I was listening to the Triple J on Earth like Spotify playlist earlier today, and there were some cats on there that sounded like it was some mumble shit from
some trapping, son.
It was trapping hard, and I was like, and there was a couple of lines in there talking about gats, and I was like, damn,
there's none of them here, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, if there is, you must be really hard. So yeah, that was interesting. And you know, I don't know anything about the people. They might be living that, but that's all good. But yeah, that was interesting to see. That, I mean, definitely the influence is coming across. You listen to the new Thundamentals single, that like you can hear the influence of what's happening over in the States coming in that chorus. I think it's a dope track. I can't even remember what it's called, but the chorus is fire. But you can tell they're totally getting influenced by what's happening, and that's cool, man. Like I think that's what's art all about, you know. And especially we're talking about the internet. It's no longer this. It's
the country thing.
It's no longer. It's like it's global now. Yeah, and that's so cool. Yeah.
You on that fucking Baker Boy swag?
Oh man, I'm not too deep in it. I don't know too much about it.
Love that motherfucker.
Yeah, I know he did well in the Hottest 100, right? Yeah.
That's I love that. I guess like we've been talking about it a little bit on the podcast, is just like kind of when I went to the States and lived over there for so long, then I kind of, you're like, fuck, what is culture? Like, what is Australian culture? And it actually made me think about what culture is and what makes culture, because it's so different. Yeah. And then growing up in North Queensland, I was immersed in Aboriginal culture without even really thinking about it. Yeah. And then I go away and come back and I'm like, fuck, we have this whole culture that's like really underrepresented in a lot of 100%. Ways. Like there should be Aboriginal music, there should be Aboriginal music, movies, there should be Aboriginal TV shows, because that's like that's the culture.
And you look at New Zealand, they're really good about supporting the Maori culture and the Maori arts and all that stuff, and that's dope.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And like, dude, so there was actually, I watched UFC over the weekend, and there was a guy that was a New Zealand dude, and he fucking did his post-fight speech in Maori, but he was a white dude. Yeah. So I get, well, he's like half caste, but he didn't look Maori. Yeah. And I was just like, fuck, like way to take I guess make a statement for your culture. And I think that like a lot of the times we've just had negativity when it comes to Indigenous Australian guy, like Mundine, for example. Yeah. Like he'll use a platform to kind of speak in a negative sense in a lot of occasions, and it's like, oh, I'm cool with Mundine, not Hayden. Yeah. But it's like, you see that, like you said, the Maori culture, and you're like, the way they use it, and that was a colonization fucking deal that went through, is the same sort of thing.
Man, Australia's got the OGs, really. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's just crazy to think about the whole world, and how, like, really only in the last few hundred years shit's really drastically changed to how it was, right? You know what I mean? And so, well, you know, in terms of the world getting colonized and opening up more and all that kind of stuff, it's pretty crazy. And then you think about, you know, even crazier shit like the agricultural revolution, and suddenly we have this abundance of food, and going back to the whole food thing, and suddenly, like, all this shit's put in front of us, and we're just, no wonder why we're getting sick, and, you know what I mean, all these things, these negative things are happening because only in the last 200 years, like, we've changed our whole thing. Yeah. You know, like, drastically. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then going back to, I mean, we're going deep here. Going back to the whole evolution of the planet and where we are as a species, and then you start thinking about where we're headed. You know,
Mars, son.
Yeah, man. Elon, bring it. And, like, yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's a great time to be alive.
And I wished, I guess, like, while we're talking about that, like, my message for all of this is, like, just fucking stop and chill. Yeah. Everyone just stop and chill.
Yeah.
We're all fucking, everyone's angry at Trump. Everyone's angry at this. Yeah. Everyone's a fucking rapist. Yeah. All white men suck. Like, all this shit just keeps getting thrown. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Everyone stop. Just chill. Look around.
Yeah.
Look at where we are. We're all fucking living in houses. We're all pretty well nice to each other on a day-to-day basis. Like, shit is pretty good.
Yeah.
And we have access to change the stuff that we don't want to change.
Yeah.
Like, you can fucking Google if you're fat.
Yeah.
And go, how do I not be fat anymore? It's like, there's no...
Yeah.
There's no one's fucking holding the keys, the secrets behind a gate anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's all out there.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I just wish there was a bit, like you said, like, everyone stop, chill, go for a surf.
Yeah.
Go for a fucking run.
Yeah.
Hug your mum.
Yeah.
It's all,
That's it, man. Peace, love, unity.
We're doing good.
That's it.
But I guess, like, it's funny that whole thing become, like, hokey and fucking hippie, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, when did just the nice being nice be this hippie thing that's like counterproductive in a way?
Yeah.
Because it sort of was labeled that in the 60s, really.
Well, yeah, 100%. The peace, love, unity movement, all that. Yeah.
But it's like, well, that's fucking as real as it gets.
Fuck yeah, man. Fuck yeah.
I guess, where are you guys at musically now? Is it hard to keep making music after, 18 years of being together? Or is it this constant thing where, like, you're almost a new person in the last 6 months? So is it like, now this new album is like from this new dude?
It's just more fun. It's just more fun to be had. It's like, there's nothing better than getting re-inspired and inspired again and again for different things. The world is growing. Influences are always changing. You're always learning as a human. All this shit funnels into music, you know? So it's, I never want to make the same record again. You know what I mean? I always want to evolve. And that's the key, man. And it's always like, making music is supposed to be fun. Like, I want to be inspired to do it. It's like, it's when you're hungry and when you're doing something that it doesn't feel like work. That's the gold. Because you want to. That's, you know what I mean. People like, oh, they ask me, is it hard? You've done. Yeah, it's been fucking hard as shit. Like, growing our career from nothing to what it is now. But I've enjoyed every second of it because it's fucking what I want to do. You know what I mean? And having that passion is so crucial to anything. If you're gonna do anything in life, it's like, number one, figure out what you fucking love. That's the first thing. Don't do shit you don't like. Yeah, and figure out how that's gonna work for you. I sold shoes for fucking part-time, selling kicks, and I was out the back like emailing my manager on my BlackBerry every fucking 5 seconds, figuring out our touring routing for our first Australian tour. We went and did shows in regional Australia before anyone else had done hip-hop shows. It's just having that drive and that hustle, man. That's, for me, that's what it's all about. We kind of changed topics a little bit there, but
there's no rules, man.
That's it, man. Yeah.
What was it like, almost trying to convince people that Australian hip hop was a thing? Like, was it? I mean, it's never like an overnight success because the business is always like a fucking crazy work in progress. Like, I guess even now you barely feel like it would still feel like a work in progress.
100%.
But it's like, did the music? Did people take to just the product?
Yeah,
because you were like convincing people that the shit was fucking, and there's like an American dude, and then there's an Aussie dude, and then
I mean, convincing maybe by just doing our thing and putting them out, but not like actively trying to like, yo, listen to this is dope. None of that. But yeah, it's
But you had to create you had to create ears for this shit.
Yeah, and the way we did it was literally, it's like groundswell, man. Like, it was a grassroots movement. We were the first Australian group to make a mixtape. We did a promotional mixtape. Every show we did, we threw those bitches out for free. I was making them on a 2-speed CD fucking ROM writer, right? It would take half an hour per disc. We had 2 of them going, making black and white photocopy, paper folded up cases. We would make fucking 500 of these things. We'd go on tour, we'd throw them out. We'd make fans by literally one by one. Then we'd figure out tours, bring like, get into my little hatchback, 5 dudes in that shit. We drive to fucking Newcastle. We drive to Katoomba and the Blue Mountains. We drive to Melbourne. We do these shows for like 100 people sometimes. And that would be a great turnout. And then, you know, we'd shake everyone's hand afterwards. We'd take photos. We'd talk to people, and we'd literally built it from the ground up. We took every single opportunity that we got. We were lucky to get some international supports early on, because people saw the grind and the hustle, and there wasn't that many dudes doing it. So people needed, when they brought out Cypress Hill, when they brought out Exhibit, when they brought out different artists, they needed an opener. So we got the call, and then we took every opportunity, and we'd use those 2-speed recorders to fucking burn those CDs and make them by hand and fucking throw them out to the crowd, and that was it, man. It was a fucking grind. It was a hustle.
And how fucking good was that shit, though? Yeah,
well, it's crazy, man, because that every step we took led to further shit. My bad. Every step we took led to further, you know, success. Success breeds success. Yeah.
It's crazy though. Like, I bet that you look at those times now with like so much love.
I wouldn't want to do it again. Yeah. I mean, like, when I say like I love the journey, I love thinking back on it. Yeah, but it was fucking hard, man.
Because in the moment, I bet it sucked dick to just be fucking like just hustling, just grind, and then. But like, I feel like those things that when they feel like they suck, they're the most fun to look back. It's like the marathon effect. Like, essentially, you're like, you'd never want to do it again. Yeah. But it's like, fuck, that was rad.
Yeah. And now we got our own ways that we're still hustling hard. It's just it's
in a different way.
Yeah. Technology has changed. Like, and as you advance through the game, you acquire skill sets that help you to take it to the next level, and suddenly you're dealing with different people, and you're dealing with different opportunities and all that shit. So it's the same shit, it's just it's a different method. It keeps going. And you know, it's like, when I look back on it, like, that was fucking the hardest slog ever, but I just did it because it's like you're passionate about it, man. Like, you just want it, you know. And because of it, you don't look at it like this grind. The worst thing for me ever was when I was working at the Kick store. Like, and the way I defined it was I was working for someone else's dream. Fuck that. It's like, I want to work on my dream, you know. And look, I get it. It's not an easy thing. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Yeah. It's hard as shit, and it takes a fuck ton of commitment. But you know, if you want it, you can get it.
It takes commitment too that is just like fucking not justified. And like, it's what we were saying before when you were like, just asking about the podcast and stuff, and it's like, no, I'm taking like a fucking huge hit. Like, I'm now broke. Yeah. When I don't have to be fucking broke. Yeah. But I really want to do this and only this. Yeah. So it's like you just have to take the hit. Yeah. And it's like it's like blind faith in a way. Yeah. And because I guess like sometimes you're the only person that can really believe the vision. Yeah. And I mean, you had Eso, that obviously he really believed the vision as well, but it's like it's in a time when so few people genuinely believe in what you're trying to do, and you have to just fucking put the blinders on to all of that shit that says this won't work. Yeah, man. And have like that blind faith for a fucking really long time.
The biggest thing for me was like getting it past my parents, right? Because my parents were like, when are you gonna give up this hobby and get a real job, son? Like, constantly, right? And they were like, you gotta go to university. And I didn't really want to do it, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna fucking do it, I'm gonna do it in something I'm passionate about. So I did fine arts, I did film and sound, right? So every single major project I would center around Bliss N Eso, whether it was website design, I'd build our website, photography, I'd do our press shots. Fuck yeah. Yeah, video clips, I'd do our video clips, sound, obviously, music. So I basically got a degree working on B&E, which was brilliant. I made it work for me. But man, there was a point where like I wasn't getting on with the major like lecturer dude. I did our first video clip, which was for Dreams, and he almost failed me. And the guy, and I remember there was another dude in the class who was like killing it. It was like all on the art, you know, like there's a whole like philosophy and this deep fucking analyzing of art, right, that goes into art theory. And I was kind of not really into it. I was like, man, I just want to do what I like. And this guy was like killing it with the marks and stuff. This was a student. And he was the top of the class, and I was basically the bottom of the class, right? And I remember he came up to me after I like presented the video clip for Dreams, the B&E video clip. And he came up to me, he's like, yo, don't listen to anything the fucking lecturer is saying, dude. You're gonna fucking kill it. He's like, you're gonna kill it. I remember him saying that to me, and I was like, fuck yeah. And that was cool from him to say that, because he was deep in that game, that art theory game, but he could see what I was doing was actually practical, and I could apply the skills to what I wanted to do. So yeah, that was a moment. But yeah, back to my parents, man. It was like the day I got to the point where my dad was like, shit, because he was helping out with like some of the business affairs stuff and the accounting, because he's an accountant, and it was slowly a band is a business basically, and when you start, you're slowly making money, little bits and pieces, and you're just pumping it back into the projects, right? And there was a point where he actually kind of turned to me, he was like, I think this could be a real thing. And that was a moment for me, because it suddenly stopped. My parents stopped being like, get a real job, and they started just full going ham out supporting me on what I was doing. And that was a real cool thing, man, because it's hard, man. Like, especially young people coming up, you got the influence of your parents, right? And you know, and it can be super hard when they don't see you know, like your dream as a reality, or like an actual career path, or something that you can actually achieve and be successful in, you know. So for me, that was a big moment. When was that? Like, in terms of the timeline of the B&E career story? It's fucking hard to say. It's definitely after Flowers and the Pavement. We were on Obese Records, and it was still kind of like, in their eyes, it's still kind of a hobby. But I was still working part-time at the Kick Store then. We were still touring, and then we signed with Elusive, and we put out Day of the Dog, and I think it was like we started getting a bit of momentum, and then leading into Flying Colors, which is where we really started hammering, and that's when like that was our first gold album. Now it's platinum. That was, you know, we got an ARIA for that album, Best Urban Album, and that was when things started really rolling, and that's when the numbers started coming up big time in terms of attendance to shows and shit. I remember like when we first sold out the Metro Theatre in Sydney, it was like a venue that we had like opened up for so many times to other people, and that was a moment, man, to sell that out yourself was like, fuck. I was like, if I look back on when we were opening up, that was like a pipe dream. Like, like, how the fuck are we gonna get 1,200 people here? Like, and pack this dope theater out, you know? And then when we did it, it's like, yeah. So I guess to answer your question, I don't really remember exactly where it was in the timeline, but I remember it was definitely a moment when it did happen. You know, I'm sure I could figure it out, I guess, if I could I guess it's not put like it all together. But important, but exactly, yeah. But I mean, it took literally years and years of hustle to get even to that stage, to get to the point where your parents are like on board. Like, and don't get me wrong, they were on board, always supporting, but it was always, they still want the best interest for you. And it was always like a hobby. And my dad was always like, yeah, you got this degree now, you should be sending out resumes to get like a graphic design job at an agency. That's what his whole thing was. So he was like on me about sending these out, and I was like, I just want to rap, you know. I just want to make music. And especially like them coming from, as fuck, man, like I use an accountant as a reference of like the opposite of what I do, because it is like, it's fucking by the numbers, and it's making sense of things in terms of profit and loss, and finding the fucking place where a business is profitable. And it's like, that's not what this is for a really long time. Like, this is like, I chuck my fucking swag in the back of my van, because it's like, I don't know where the fuck I'm gonna sleep. It's so dope though, man. And it's not out of but I can already see where you're going. Like when you show me the photo of like the bus and shit, what your vision is, it's gonna build, dude. And it's like, and that's gonna be all part of the story, man. Remember when I was swagging it in the back of my van? Like, that's dope. And but it's like, you have to get to a place, like, I really don't think successful people have this secret sauce where it's like, okay, talent you're a fucking rapper, you've got to have a good voice, and then you've got to have a flow, and then you've got to be able to create like lines and narratives and tell stories, then you've got to be able to perform. So like, in terms of what you're doing, there's definitely a talent based thing to where it's like same as being an athlete or whatever,
But it's like, you say you use the athlete. It's like, how many of the dudes are the super fucking talented dude that just doesn't want to train as hard as the next guy?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's like, there's really no formula for, or there's no secret source in success. It's not this random thing that will happen. It's like fucking purely based on hustle.
Man, 100%.
But you have to be smart to pick the thing. Like,
you need to know yourself and know what you're good at, and then triple down on that shit. That's it.
And we were talking about Gary Vee earlier.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing that I definitely do agree with him.
Yeah.
And I also do agree with him when he talks about, you have to not give a fuck about what the people in your life think to a certain extent.
100%.
I definitely do agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, and then, but once you get to that stage, it's so liberating.
Fuck yeah.
Because, you know, it's like, man, you kind of get to this stage where you're like, man, you only live once. I want to be happy. I don't want to be under the fucking whim of anybody and what they think, and making decisions on that, or how they're going to think of this or whatever. And for years, man, I was scared to do certain things, and it was like, I've been in a 20-year growth process throughout my life, and that's pretty much what everyone should be on. I guess you're always learning and you're always expanding, but through the rap game, like, getting more comfortable with myself and getting more, you know what I mean, and owning it more and more, to this point where you're totally confident and totally, you know, comfortable being in your own skin, who you are. And like, what we're getting back to, like, man, no one else in the world is you, so embrace it. Do you know what I mean? So, and not giving a fuck what anyone else thinks.
Well, that's what's kind of took me back a little bit today when we met and we're like hanging out having breakfast. Like, you seemed really open, like way more open than I thought, because it's like, you get to like, I'm fucking doing a podcast with you because, like, you've got to a certain level of, not saying that like everybody I talk to has to be fucking famous or whatever, but it's like, you've got to a reason where, like, I know who you are and I'm like interested to talk to you.
Yeah.
But it's, you instantly come across as a guy that's like really willing to like ask questions and talk back. Dude. And I'm like, and it's like, fuck, like, you've reached a level of, like, you've got to this point, you're Bliss from Bliss N Eso,
yeah, and
you could be cruising and not be on this like fucking bell curve of growth still.
Yeah,
like, you could stay kind of where you're at.
Yeah, you can spin your wheels.
I think that's fucking pretty cool to see.
That's what it's all about, man. Like, and I didn't
expect that, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, man, to me, it's all about, like, I'm interested in what other people are doing. I'm interested in what's working for them, what isn't working for them. I want to know exactly, specifically what they're doing to, you know, implement certain things or whatever. It fascinates me, all that shit. And to me, man, it's all about fucking asking questions and growing and learning. Like, fuck. I think when people get to the point with ego where they stop because they think they're the shit and they think they already know it all, fuck, that's the moment you just lose.
Yeah. That's
the moment you lose. Dude, I'm so sorry. I fucking totally forgot. I knew I had an appointment at 2.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
It's 2 now. I've got a thing. Let me just call him real quick.
Yeah,
see if I can put it off.
Yeah,
because I'm enjoying this.
No, that's all good.
Yeah.
We've been going an hour and a half. So.
Yeah, well, see, I thought we were going to start at kind of around 11, so I thought we'd have enough time.
No, that's cool. Call them and let me know if we have to stop. You going, mate?
Yeah, I'm just calling Chris now.
Yeah.
Is he messenger?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Hey, bro. Hey, quick question. Can we kick off in like 10:15? Would that be enough? Do we just wrap it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that alright, or is that gonna fuck with you? Alright, thanks. Sorry, dude. Okay, cheers, mate. See you. Yeah, I'm so sorry, dude. I just I thought we'd start a little earlier and we had breakfast and I kind of forgot.
No, that's all good. Yeah, we'll fucking just do another one at some point.
Yeah,
man.
Cool, man.
Oh, I've had a ball talking to you.
Yeah, no, it's been great, man.
Oh, flip them.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, well, I probably should wrap it up at like 10.
No, that's all good.
Cool.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? So let's talk about some shit where people can like fucking reach you and all that shit.
Oh yeah. Well,
tell the people what you got going on.
On the socials, you mean, where they can reach me?
Just whatever the fuck you want.
Fuck,
promo
man.
some shit.
Shit, man.
You selling t-shirts? You fucking selling shows? What are you selling?
No, we actually got to get it. We got to get. Oh, fuck me. So sorry, dude. I don't know why Dean's calling me. Hey, bro, we're gonna kick off in 10 minutes, okay? I just spoke to Chris. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I'm just finishing this podcast real quick, so I gotta run. Yep, will do. Okay, man. Cheers. Sip. Okay. Back in it.
We're here. You're a busy man. I appreciate
I am,
it.
man. I mean, yeah. Well, you know what? Like for me, I'm excited about this next phase because we got this new B&E project we're working on. I can't really spill the beans too much. I was telling you earlier, but I don't really want to announce it yet. But we're also working on a new B&E album. I'm also working on some solo shit. And you know, I'm just this has been a big life reset for me this year, and it's been rad. And so I'm excited about the future and what everything holds. So it's gonna be good, man. Yeah.
I'm keen to watch it. I've listened to your music for a long time, but I guess now on the personal level, I'm excited to keep watching the growth, man. Fucking inspiring me to keep doing my shit as well. So thanks for making the time.
Fuck yeah, brother.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, hell yeah, we'll definitely do it again. I feel like we got a lot more shit we can delve into. One thing you did mention earlier, you really went past it really quickly, but I was gonna ask you about it. It's fucking Trump.
I thought I was gonna say some stuff too, but what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, real quick, like, it's funny, man. I watch the news now about him like it's a TV show, because every fucking day there's something gangbusters crazy going on. Yeah. And it's like, man, he is such an insane fucking person, and the shit that he's doing is so whack in so many ways, but I can't stop watching it. I'm like, I gotta check in with this idiot again, you know what I mean? Because he's a fucking idiot, you know what I mean?
Dude.
And you know, he's done so many bad things, you know what I mean? And I actually think he's in a fucking world of trouble with this Mueller probe, and I think that he's potentially going to be the first president that goes to jail, but we'll see. I don't know, but yeah, I was gonna ask you about it because it's like, I've never been into politics in my life, but for the first time I can't put the shit down because of the fucking craziness that's happening every day, and I'm just like, I can't believe this motherfucker, like, it's happening.
Dude, that's like my whole thing, because I was like living in the States while the fucking Trump shit was going down, and fucking, I swear on my life, the fucking day he said he was running, I said he's gonna win. Why? Because I've been to butt fuck nowhere. I've been to every single butt fuck nowhere in America, and it's like, we see as people in Australia, we see California, and we see New York, and we see the Kardashians, we see the fucking Real Housewives.
There's middle America is a whole different beast, and I've done the same thing touring, man.
You know what it's like. And the day he said he was running, and I said, this is a fucking
you better take this guy seriously, because
this is a dude that is speaking to all of the fucking disenfranchised people, and whether or not he serves them correctly, but I'm fucking glad, because exactly what you said about, like, I've never cared about politics. It's time for us all to fucking care. And,
that's right.
And overall, Trump's effect on the US and the global economy of politics will be positive, because now we fucking know this shit can happen.
Yeah, well, that's it. And you know what? If, like, we're taking interest, it's like what Bernie Sanders always says, it's about the younger generation taking interest and actually caring about the shit and actually going to vote, because without that, shit's never going to change. You know what I mean? Now, that goes into a whole nother conversation I'd love to talk to you about. We don't have time, about the future of where society's going and how technology can be a part of, like,
direct democracy. Direct democracy.
Exactly.
I want to vote on this.
Yes, and I want to be able to say, this is what I believe in. I want the money spent from our taxes on. You know what I mean? J. Cole even says it in his new album. He's like, why the fuck can't I have an app where I pay all this fucking tax and say, this is what I like it spent on, please. These are the areas which I want actually done, instead of fighting pointless wars or whatever. You know what I mean?
Dude, my whole thing, and we'll wrap it up fucking quick. I need an app on my phone, right? Right now, everyone can vote. Everyone shouldn't be able to vote. If you're a dumb fuck that knows nothing and you don't give a fuck and you're voting, I don't want your vote. You don't need to be a part of my Australia. So what we need is, we need people to send, we need the policies to come through. Gay marriage. You have to read, there's no more left and right. There's just a for and against. And they have to be fucking educated reference articles. And if you can't read through all that material and answer a questionnaire to show me that you know both the left and the right side of the argument, you don't get to fucking
How long
vote.
have you been thinking this way? Because I've been thinking this way a long time, and I'm flabbergasted. It hasn't even fucking been brought up for debate. No. Like, it's like, I haven't heard anyone talk about this, like, hey, we should actually implement this, or at least talk about it.
Man, fuck, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there is like a direct democracy party.
Right,
Australia.
okay. Well, see, when I say I'm into politics, I don't know anything about Australian politics, which is probably whack, but I can only handle so much shit at a time.
It's basically a joke.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the fucking real problem. But I mean, dude, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Let's get you... When are you coming to the Gold Coast?
Man, I'll be up at some point soon. We'll be touring later this year, so keep an eye out for that, people.
Well, let's have a surf. And
yes, let's definitely have a surf.
A new mountain bike as well.
Dude, so I'm about to get my new Santa Cruz. Just ordering it, in the process of ordering it. So let's definitely do that. Let's get Toby Price out there. Yeah. Let's do some fucking rad shit.
And I'll hook you up with Steele Lewis.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be wicked.
He's the fucking shit.
Hell yeah.
So, all right, brother.
Legend, bro.
I'll talk to you.
Hell yeah. Peace.